Okay, so tonight I'm not necessarily doing a review, but I'm going to do another comparison of the Libby, the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Glass, and the Glencairn. So here a while back when I first got this Libby, a good friend Amanda from That Bourbon Dude, she sent me a couple of these Libby glasses. I know a lot of people like them for they're designed. They're supposed to be better with higher proof spirits like bourbon, whereas the Glencairn was designed for Scotch, which tend to be lower proof. Well, when I did my first comparison, I think I used 100 proof. I think that's what it was. Anyway, well, we were discussing, because I didn't get much difference. There was a slight variance. And I kind of came to the conclusion that this, the Libby, it's great for sipping. I mean, it holds a little bit more. It's a little bit bigger glass. Fits your hand well. So it makes it nice for just sipping. Whereas the Glen, if you really want to taste it and get into it and break it down. But Ken from the group suggested that these are better for anything above 110. And then Matt threw out the suggestion that I try a HAZMAT. So I'm going to try my bottle of Jacob's Pardon. That is 142.7 proof. That is an American light whiskey. And for anyone that doesn't know the difference between American light whiskey and bourbon is what it's distilled at and the way it ages. So with bourbon, it can't be distilled above 160. So it has to be distilled below 160 and below. There's a lot of other things that go into bourbon. It goes into the barrel at 125 proof, or no more than 125 proof. And obviously new charred oak, and then we can get into the mash bill and everything later. But with American light whiskey, they distill above 160. There's no, I think it's like above 160, below 190. And then it doesn't have the proof restriction for going into the barrel. And it either goes into a new uncharred barrel or it can go into used, previously used for bourbon or whatever. So that's the main difference. But a lot of times the mash bills are the same. Like this one is like 99% corn, 1% malted barley. So, but anyway, so I wanted to see how the Libby compares when dealing with a HAZMAT. Now the other thing is HAZMAT. That's anything that is bottled at above 140 or above. And that is because it is literally considered hazardous material and you can't fly with it. I learned that recently. I always thought it was just kind of a term of endearment because it's so damn hot, you know, has all that alcohol in it. And someone corrected me on that and I learned a lesson. So I think I kind of have opinions on a lot of things, but to me, and this is a good American light whiskey. To me, it's a lot easier for an American light whiskey to get to the HAZMAT level or be bottled at HAZMAT than it is for a bourbon, because a bourbon has to sit there and age and the conditions have to be right for the alcohol content to get up to that level. Whereas an American light whiskey pretty much already starts its life as a HAZMAT until it's proofed down for bottling if they don't want it to be quite that hot. But and that the process that the bourbon goes through to get there puts a lot more barrel impact, because it's got to spend a lot more time in that barrel. The conditions have to be right for the water to evaporate as opposed to alcohol. And all that plays a factor into how much flavor you get out of that barrel and what your whiskey tastes like in the end. As an example, Garrison Brothers does their cowboy bourbon, and that's a lot of times is a HAZMAT, and it's a bourbon, and that stuff is dark, like it looks like motor oil, and it's got a lot more oak impact on it when you drink it as opposed to this stuff. So anyway, we're going to get into this. There's a difference. It's a lot softer to me on the Libby. This one to me, it tasted a lot like an Irish whiskey, Redbreast. I get a lot of buttered biscuit, shortbread cookie notes, and that's what I get after this one's, like you pour this in a glass and let it open up a little bit, that's what I get on this one. And it's a lot softer here. In the Glen, it's a lot deeper of a nose. It's real soft in the Libby. It's more prominent in this Glen. I get a lot more, almost a spice. And that's just on the nose, which what you smell is about 70 or 80% of what you taste anyway. I don't really get any difference on the taste, on the palate. It's all the same. It's that bready shortbread cookie. I probably should have done a warm-up pour, starting the night off with 142 proof. Kind of wakes your tongue up. Yeah, I don't notice enough difference in the palate between the two. It's that bready. Tonight I'm getting a little bit of a black pepper note. But, of course this one's, I got this probably around the 1st of December, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little under half. It's about right there. Yeah, I still say I think for me, and other people have different opinions, the Glen is better for tasting. The Libby is perfect for sipping. And a lot a lot of people like this wide bowl on the Libby because it's a little bit more open. You can let some more of that alcohol vapor get out. But one thing I've learned, I learned this a while back by watching Daniel Whittington on the Whiskey Tribe. Or, well, he started on the Tribe, Whiskey Vault. But you know, when you're trying to nose this, don't just shove your off in there. Just get it to where if it kind of burns, back off a little bit, but keep your mouth open. As you breathe in through your nose, keep your mouth open, which I know it sounds really weird, and it feels weird when you first try to do it. I say something about that, and my wife looks at me like I've got two heads. But what that does is that allows, as you breathe in, the vapors don't just hang around up there in your sinuses. Excuse me, they just kind of cycle through, and then you get more aromas, and it helps pick out different notes. A couple weeks ago, Daniel from the Vault posted a very good comparison between the different types, and he gets into even more than this. Different types of drinking glasses and their purposes and what you get. But I still say, for me, that if I want to do a review or taste or pick something apart, the Glen is what I will use. But I like these Libbies. They're nice, they're sturdy, they fit your hand good. You can hold a little bit more so you don't have to make as many trips to the bar. And they've got that tulip shape, so you are going to be able to pick out some notes on the nose and the palate. For me, it's just that it softens the nose too much, or at least more than what I prefer. But anyway, that's my comparison. I wanted to do that. I've ran through all my samples to review for now. And so I wanted to go in here and try that again. See if I got a different result with a lot higher proof, since that's what the Libbies are supposed to be designed for. Anyway, yeah, that's my comparison, Libby versus Glen. And it didn't change my opinion any. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed.